Hello everybody and welcome back to Live with Roger Hanson. Today I am doing the finish up for my season of Strangeness. This is the 12th episode and today is going to be good because I am going to do a story that was suggested by Mark Medworthy on minds.com, and this is actually a pretty good story, so I'm going to be closing out this Strangeness series for the year, and it's going to be with the case of a haunted computer in the 1980s. Now, the story inspired the book that was called The Vertical Plane, and like I said, the story was suggested by Mike Edworth, and he goes by Medworthy on minds.com. Now, like I said, this is the final episode for this series, but you can catch all these episodes again on Spotify for podcasters at the beginning of or somewhere after January. So these episodes will be run again, but they'll be running on Spotify. I've already got them on Minds, well, not Minds, I've got them on Rumble, YouTube, and Odyssey. If you guys want to check those out, they're on there as well. So that being said, let me make sure everything's alright. Alright, so it looks good on Rumble. We got 3 watching. Alright, so now I am going to start out the story. So here it is. Most people do not take heed of the things they encountered, nor do they grasp them, even when they have learned about them, although they suppose they do. Heraclitus, FR 57. Dawdleston, 4 miles southwest of Chester, in the anachronistic enclave of Cheshire on the Welsh side of the Dee. Take the Kinnerton Road from Chester, leave behind the suburbs of Westminster Park and Loch, turn left through the dark ribbons of Bretton Woods, Dawdleston, 1 mile. Ahead, flat Cheshire farmland runs carelessly towards the first Welsh hills, Hope Mountain, and beyond that the high moors of Monera. Along the lane appear the chicken wire and the weather boarding of the hunt kennels. The maize fields in ancient Greenwalls farm are hidden by decaying orchards. The road is uneven, showing the effects of constant neglect in the filth of tractors and animals it by turns. A sharp right and left, and there, tucked shyly into the verge, is the village sign. Half the village is a dormer for the heavily mortgaged. The rest live on 2 roads. Church Road connects at one end the village school and a small council estate to the Red Lion Church and Village Hall at the other. Bisecting Church Road is Kinnerton Road, which contains 2 more pivots of village life. Firstly, Mr. Hughes's shop and post office, chapel stores, and further along the farm from which milk deliveries are organized early in the morning. The name chapel stores bears testimony to some of the dissonant influences acting upon this otherwise quiet, typical Cheshire village. Welsh nonconformists built the tiny chapel, flourished briefly, then withdrew, leaving only the building. Facing it are the hard Roman brick houses built by the Duke of Westminster, which represent the deeply conservative tenure of rural life. Each has a W picked out in blue bricks across the upper story as a permanent reminder of the all-pervading influence of the English aristocracy. Many of the Duke's villages and the hamlets find their names echoed in the expensive area of London, Belgravia, Eccleston Square, Eaton Square, but not Duddleston, for in truth Duddleston was never entirely beholden to the Grosvenors. And there it rests between the Welsh border, a mile across the drained and empty lands of the Burton Meadows and the Duke's estate at Eden. From the Welsh side, from town, ditch, and gully, Duddleston can be seen clearly straggling a low ridge above the meadows. A castle mound and its trees form one landmark, and the twin silage towers of Moat Farm another. But clumps of trees and then ones and twos break up the middle distance. This settlement, 1,000 years old in 1982, settled for insignificant centuries ago. It is a place both confident and obscure. Duddleston is not quite spoilt, and consequently the village is brimley of would-be squires, aspiring businessmen, affecting concern and love for the slower, more sentimental pace of rural life. So the Red Line car park has its scattering of XJS's and Porsches, but very few are in awe of this kind of ostentation. The landlord's coffer increase at the same rate as the girth of his sons, said someone kindly, but equally frank Cummins, a die-hard villager in a demob hat and coat, will be found fixing planks with second-hand nails. The village has no dominant group, and although the ebb and flow of traffic along its roads point to many changes, it is an even-tempered place. Sometimes the tempo changes at weekend, when the roar of motorcycles and modified Ford Escorts marks closely timed, or the sounds of a party drift across the houses. For the rest, the years bring noisy adolescents to the phone box at the juncture to kick footballs, tin cans, and occasionally each other, until they tire, grow older, and gain entry to the pubs, falling in and out of love, and the minicabs which ply to form the city clubs. Meadow Cottage stands between Chapel Stores and the phone box, the third in a row of 4 tiny 18th century dwellings facing into Kennerton Road, or onto Kennerton Road. It is accessible at the front from Kennerton Road and at the rear by Church Road. The village passes the door. Children throw wrappers and Coke cans into the small front gardens across the knee-high brick wall. In the sharp, raw morning, cars queued alongside its gates, their engines ticking overexcitedly clog up the road by the shop. This is my house. It is late autumn 1984. And that is the prologue for the book that was inspired by this story. It's from Ken Webster. It's called The Vertical Plane. I'm not going to read it. I just wanted to share the beginning, the prologue, so that everybody has an idea of what kind of setting we're talking about when I read more about this. This is going to be taken off of an article from North Wales Live, and it concerns this story of what I'm about to say, and it goes by ghost typing in 1980s computer accuses couple of stealing his house. Okay, the couple who were renovating an 18th century cottage reported strange goings-ons in their home. The case of an alleged haunting 1980s computer that started communicating with a teacher in archaic English has baffled paranormal investigators for over 35 years now. Known as the Duddleston Messages, they were a series of communications a teacher received on a BBC microcomputer in 1985. This was before the internet was commonplace and the computer was not connected to a network. The bizarre events sparked theories ranging from an elaborate hoax to an angry ghost. Some even suggest it was an attempt from both the past and the future to communicate with the present, but it all started with a set of mysterious footprints. The story resurfaced recently in a blog written by Allison Troutner for the website HowStuffWorks.com. In 1985, Ken Webster and his girlfriend Debbie had recently moved into and were renovating the dilapidated 18th century meadow cottage in the village of Duddleston in Cheshire, close to the North Wales border. During renovations, the couple noticed strange six-toed footprints in the dust, which seemed to walk up the wall between the bathroom and kitchen. Feeling sure it was a prank, perhaps, from some mischievous previous owner, Ken painted over the footprints and thought they were gone for good. The next day, the footprints returned. Over the next few weeks, the couple experienced a series of incidents that made them feel as though they were not quite alone. Tins of cat food had been neatly stacked in a pyramid, and an eerie presence was felt in the cottage. Ken was working as a teacher at a local school and had brought home a BBC microcomputer he had borrowed. This was the point things really got weird. Soon after the computer was set up, typed messages started to appear on his monitor. The first message appeared in the form of an ominous poem. More messages soon followed. The writer appeared to be able to see both Ken and Debbie, and asked about who they are before accusing them of stealing his house. Days later, a second, equally strange message came through, appearing to be written in some archaic version of English. It said, "I wrote on behalf of many, what strange words you speak. You are a worthy, good man who has a fanciful woman, and you live in my house, who dwell in my house, with lights which the devil makes. It was a great crime to have stolen, bribed my house. L.W." Over the next year and a half, more messages continued to appear. Committed to discovering who was behind them, Ken asked a series of questions to try and find out the identity of the writer. The presence appeared to be able to see the couple in the house. The writer, after initially giving his name as Lucas, confessed his name was Thomas Harden, or Hawarden. Vicar with this name did appear to live around this time at a church in Gloucestershire. It was then Thomas said he had been in communication with a friend from 2109. Ken, intrigued, wrote a message to 2109 on the computer and received a message. The message read, "Try to understand that you three have a purpose that shall, in your lifetime, change the face of history. We, 2109, must not affect your thoughts directly, but give you some sort of guidance that will allow room for your own destiny. All we can say is that we are all part of the same God. Whatever he is. More messages were left from 2109, who is reported to have expressed annoyance to finding out Lucas's real name. Could the message from Thomas, Lucas, 2109, and Ken and Debbie from 3 different timelines, using the BBC Micro as a communication device? Could the messages from Thomas, Lucas, 2109, and Ken and Debbie be from 3 different timelines, using the BBC Micro as a communications device? Paranormal investigators were invited into the cottage by the couple. Despite attending on 3 occasions, they were unable to gain any answers after no activity occurred. Eventually, Thomas said that he was being forced from his land and was never heard from again. But before stopping his communications, he said that he would leave a book for his friends in the future. Messages from 2109 later said the book would be found at some point. As of yet, no such book has been discovered. The events of Meadow Cottage in 1985 and 1986 continue to be debated by those with an interest in researching the paranormal. Nick Pontes, a researcher with a master's degree in early modern history, has been fascinated by the story and has written a blog on his investigations into the events. Ken Webster also wrote a book about his alleged first-hand experiences communicating with Thomas and 2109 called The Vertical Plane. That's what I just read the prologue to. What is known is that the Duddleston messages continue to intrigue skeptics and believers alike 35 years later. It's a pretty good story. Like I said, I do have a copy of the PDF, and if anybody would be interested in reading it, I do have it, and I'm willing to share it with anybody, so just let me know in the comment sections. If you're on live with Roger Hansen in my chat room, go ahead and let me know that you want a copy of it, and I can send it to you. This is the final episode of my Strangeness stories for the year, like I said before, but don't worry, I will be back next January to do 12 more episodes. Now after this, I'm going to put something together, and I've decided to name it Into the Abyss with Roger Hansen. I haven't figured out which day of the week I'm going to do that with, but the topics there are going to be more concerning just strangeness and conspiracy combined with esoteric backgrounds, hermetics, stories about, you know, things like real witches and witchcraft that was being practiced in the Middle Ages, because we always hear about the witch hunts, but nobody ever knows that there were actually strange cases. I also have done just regular videos on YouTube that wasn't podcast formatted, which I do have on my YouTube channel, which is called Strange Stories. So if you guys want to listen to that, I've got a ton of them when it comes to Into the Abyss, and I've also got a ton of them with my Strange Stories, so you feel free to check that out if you want to. I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and like I said before I started recording, I'd like to thank everybody who was involved with this. Thanks Karma Love for being on the show and helping to support it, keep it going. I appreciate that. That was a good thing. I'd also like to thank Tan Hai Tran and Mark Medworthy on Minds.com. They helped me with the support and stuff. Mr. Robot, he's been excellent when it comes to supporting this. These guys are all on Minds.com. If you guys want to check them out, check them out. Come into the chat area and hook up with us too, and we can set you up with some cool chat rooms that you can go into, explore, and get to know all of us. It's pretty good stuff, man. So if you guys want to, you know, get into this stuff and actually be able to have a conversation with other people about it, that's where you need to be. I've said that so many times I really don't want to say it no more. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my Rumble and see if anybody's left any comments. No comments there. Nothing in the chat. So I guess I am done. I hope you guys enjoyed and have a good day.